The fear within, meeting the unseen. You were taught to run from fear. Since childhood, every shadow, every whisper of the unknown was met with a command. Don't be afraid. And so, you obeyed. You buried fear beneath smiles, beneath busy lives, beneath distractions dressed as ambition. But what you hide grows. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is the forgotten gatekeeper of your transformation. It doesn't come to punish, it comes to awaken. But the modern mind does not know how to sit with fear. It fights it, numbs it, denies it. And so you chase safety. You seek control. You fill your schedule, your body, your bank account, not out of peace, but out of panic. Fear lives not in danger, but in your refusal to feel. It is not the cliff that terrifies you, but your own trembling knees. You are afraid of being afraid. And here lies the trap. What you run from becomes your prison. But what you meet with stillness becomes your teacher. Close your eyes. Feel that tremor in your belly, the heat in your chest, the tightness in your throat. That is fear knocking. Not to scare you, to liberate you, to say, come closer. I have something to show you. But no one told you that fear is sacred. No one told you that beneath its sharp teeth lies softness. Beneath the roaring is silence. Beneath the panic is presence. You keep asking, when will fear go away? That is the wrong question. Fear is not a visitor. It is a mirror. And until you look into it with loving eyes, it will keep returning, louder, darker, deeper, just trying to be seen. The awakened being does not conquer fear. They commune with it. They bow to its wisdom. They invite it to sit at the table. They listen. You do not need to fight fear. You only need to stop running, to stop avoiding, to become still enough to feel what is underneath it. A great tenderness, forgotten child, a longing for love. The mind resists this. It says, you will be destroyed, but in truth, you will be reborn. When you welcome fear, you dissolve the war within. You stop splitting yourself. You reclaim your lost parts. And in that wholeness, fear no longer controls you. It serves you. Because once you walk into the heart of fear, you find no monster, only your own misunderstood power. Fear was never a wall. It was the door. And you've had the key all along. Shame. The silent saboteur. Shame is not loud. It whispers. It sits quietly in the corners of your mind like an unwanted guest who never leaves, rearranging the furniture of your identity, dimming the lights of your worth, hiding your reflection behind curtains of judgment. You think shame is yours, but it was given to you, passed down in silence, in glances, in rules, in the unspoken message, you are not enough. Before you could even speak, the world began to tell you what was wrong with you. Too loud, too quiet, too wild, too soft, too much, too little. And you believed them, not because they were right, but because they were your gods, parents, teachers, culture, religion, the architects of your inner voice. And so shame became the narrator of your life, invisible yet everywhere. It shows up not as a monster, but as self-sabotage. It hides behind perfectionism, people-pleasing, procrastination, addiction. It whispers, don't try too hard. You'll fail. Don't be too visible. They'll judge you. Don't rest. You haven't earned it. Shame builds walls around your heart and calls it protection. But here's the truth. You were never broken. You only believed you were. Shame is not yours to carry. It belongs to the generations before you who never learned how to heal, who passed on their wounds like family heirlooms. But you are the one who can end the cycle, and not by fighting shame, but by seeing it, by sitting with that voice that says you're not good enough and asking, whose voice is this really? Shame cannot survive the light of awareness. It feeds on secrecy and silence, but once seen, it begins to dissolve. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are not the mistake you made when you were scared and didn't know better. You are not the label someone stuck to your soul when they were too afraid to face their own pain. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become through it. And that is the power of healing. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before the shame took root. This is not about being perfect. It's about being whole. The path is not to escape shame, but to meet it with compassion. To cradle that wounded child inside who still believes they're unworthy. You don't need fixing. You need witnessing. Hold yourself the way no one ever held you. Speak to yourself the way you wish someone had spoken. And slowly, shame loses its grip. Your light returns, and you realize you were never too much. You were just too real for a world still afraid of truth. The fire within, understanding and transforming anger. You are taught that anger is wrong, that it must be hidden, that it is dangerous. And so, from your earliest moments, you are told to silence the fire within. But this fire does not die when ignored. It smolders beneath the surface, poisoning your relationships, clouding your clarity, tightening your body. What you suppress becomes a shadow. And anger is one of the most powerful shadows of all. Anger is not your enemy. It is energy. Raw, untamed life force that has been misdirected. You must understand this. Anger is not evil. What is evil is your unconsciousness around it. What is destructive is not the fire, but the one who has never learned to sit with it, to breathe through it, to listen to what it says. Most anger is grief in armor, pain that was not seen, wounds that were not tended, and when we are not given the space to cry, we begin to scream. Society teaches repression, not reflection. You are told to be good, which often means to be numb. But numbness is not peace. It is paralysis. Anger does not ask to be unleashed. It asks to be understood. When you meet it with awareness, it transforms. It no longer burns blindly. It becomes a lamp, a light that shows you where you are hurting, where you are not living your truth. Ask yourself, what is beneath this rage? Is it a forgotten no you didn't say? Is it a boundary you betrayed in yourself? Is it the ache of abandonment or the fire of injustice? Let anger become a teacher. Let it reveal your hidden values, your deep care, your unmet needs. It is not the end of your spirituality. It is the door. The ego uses anger to dominate, but the heart can use it to awaken. It is not about reacting. It is about recognizing. The next time anger rises, don't push it down. Pause. Feel its heat. Let it move through the body without harming another. Witness it like a storm passing through. The mature being does not deny their anger. They hold it. They watch it. And through this, they reclaim their power. Remember this paradox. When you stop fighting your anger, you stop being consumed by it. Because what you accept no longer controls you. There is a silence inside the flame if you are courageous enough to enter. Let anger return to its source. Love. Let it teach you presence. Let it teach you honesty. And most of all, let it teach you compassion for yourself and for all those who also burn in silence. This is how anger becomes sacred. This is how you alchemize your fire. The hidden door to transformation. You avoid pain, naturally. The body flinches, the mind withdraws, the heart closes. But have you ever noticed pain never truly leaves when you escape it? It only changes its costume. It becomes a shadow that follows you everywhere. It speaks in your sleepless nights. It echoes in broken relationships. It appears in your silence when the world becomes quiet. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger, a divine alarm ringing to awaken you from the slumber of unconsciousness. You were taught to run from it. Take a pill, get distracted, blame someone, stay busy. But pain waits, silently, patiently, until you are ready to sit with it. And when you finally do, something strange begins to happen. You stop being a victim. You start listening. And then, for the first time, pain stops being pain. It becomes insight. It becomes awareness. It becomes clarity. The very wound you were ashamed of becomes the source of your strength. The trauma you locked away becomes your teacher. The ache in your chest becomes your path back home. When you avoid pain, you avoid depth. When you numb it, you numb joy too. You cannot edit reality and expect wholeness. Pain, when met with love, transforms. Not immediately, not conveniently, but inevitably. The moment you stop running and you say, I am here, I will feel this fully, a shift occurs. You reclaim your power, not the power of domination, but the power of vulnerability, of presence, of radical honesty. The power that comes from looking into the abyss and not turning away. You don't need to dramatize it. You don't need to wallow. Just be present with it, gently, as if holding the pain of a small child. Because in truth, your pain is your inner child crying for attention. It is the part of you that was unheard, unseen, unloved. It doesn't want to hurt you. It wants you to heal it with presence. Healing is not in forgetting. It is in remembering with compassion. Stop trying to be strong in the way society taught you. That kind of strength is just armoring. It keeps you separate. True strength is soft. It allows the heart to break and stay open. Yes, there will be tears. Yes, you will tremble. Yes, your ego will resist. But something deeper than the ego will rise, your being. And in that rising, you will realize pain was never against you. It was always for you, a gateway, a teacher, a blessing dressed as a wound. So the next time pain knocks at your door, invite it in. Sit with it. Ask it what it has come to show you and listen. Truly listen. Because on the other side of pain, there is peace. And on the other side of resistance, there is love. You are not broken. You are breaking open. Let it open you. The inner child, returning to what was forgotten. You were not born afraid. You were not born ashamed. You were not born silent, hard, distant. You were born wide open. You cried when you were hurt. You laughed when you were free. You danced without asking permission. You trusted. You felt. You were completely. And then the world began to speak. Don't cry. Don't shout. Don't be so sensitive. Don't be too much. Don't be you. And so you began to shrink. Piece by piece, day by day. You tucked your light away. You began to wear a mask. Not to deceive, but to survive. That child within you did not die. It went underground. It waits, and sometimes it screams through your triggers, your overreactions, your quiet sadness you can't explain. You are not angry at your partner. You are angry because your inner child is still waiting to be seen. You are not afraid of failure. You're afraid because that child never felt safe to try. This is not regression. This is remembering. You don't heal by becoming someone new. You heal by reclaiming the one you once were before the world taught you how to hide. Sit with that child, not as a concept, not as therapy homework, but as a living presence in your own heart. Close your eyes. Imagine them standing in front of you. What do they need? Not from others, from you. Maybe just to be held, to be told, I see you, I believe you. You didn't deserve the pain, and I'm here now. There is no healing deeper than this, to become the parent you never had. Your inner child doesn't need to be fixed. They need freedom, freedom to feel, freedom to rest, freedom to express. Let them draw, let them run, let them scream, let them be silent, let them return. Because that child is not broken. They are pure life, still wild, still wise, still waiting. You cannot truly love others until you have loved this forgotten part of yourself. This is the reunion you've been craving, not with someone else, with you. And in this reunion, you are no longer fragmented. You become whole. The man who walks with his inner child walks softly, speaks honestly, loves completely, because he no longer needs to protect himself from himself. The world does not need more perfection. It needs more people who have remembered how to feel. So go, find the child, and bring them home. The masks we wear, releasing the false self. You were not born to play a role. You were born to be real. But early in life, you are handed a script. Be the smart one. Be the funny one. Be the strong one. Be the perfect one. Be anything except yourself. And because love felt conditional, you performed, not out of deceit, but from survival. The mask was not a lie. It was your shield, your armor, your disguise, and it worked. You were accepted. You were rewarded. You were praised. But inside, you felt like a stranger in your own skin. The smile wasn't yours. The laughter didn't come from your belly. The words you said tasted hollow. And over time, the mask became heavy. It began to crack. Because no soul can live in costume forever, you began to ask, who am I when I stop performing? Who am I without applause, without approval, without control? And the answer was terrifying, because you had forgotten. But forgetting is not failure. It is invitation. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be true. Remove the mask gently, not with shame, but with reverence. Thank it. It helped you survive, but it cannot help you live. You see, the mask was never the problem. Your attachment to it was. It's not about destroying the persona. It's about realizing you no longer need to wear it every moment. Sometimes the strong one must fall apart. Sometimes the funny one must weep. Sometimes the silent one must scream. Sometimes the perfect one must become messy and raw. This is not regression. This is reclamation. To take back what was hidden, your tenderness, your doubt, your depth, your wildness. You don't become whole by tightening the mask. You become whole by taking it off, piece by piece. And what you find beneath is not weakness, it's presence, it's intimacy, it's soul. Let yourself be seen, and not the version you polish for the world, but the one that shakes and breathes and burns inside you. Because only in the raw can you ever feel real love. Love not for your image, but for your essence. And the people who meet you there, they won't love your perfection. They'll love your truth. And in their eyes, you will remember you are enough. You are always enough, without the mask, without the act, just you. So let it fall, not in anger, in peace, and walk freely into your life, no longer acting, just being.